I was on this list throughout UCT, and that's something I don't speak about. You are the pioneer of your future. No one else is going to do it for you. Okay, I'm like, do I know who Brandon is? That friendships are effort. I can't travel as much on the article salary in South Africa. In Brandon's past life, he was also a model.
What has traveling taught you about home?
I think I've lost myself to our qualifications. I was bullied extensively throughout primary school, throughout high school.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Ntwaniengomane. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Today on my couch, I have Brandon. Brandon, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the channel. It is amazing to have you, and thank you for honoring my invite.
Of course, it's a pleasure being here.
Okay, so let's start here. I've known about you. I don't want to say I've known you because I don't think I've known you like that. But I've known about you since 2023 when you came over.
Yeah.
And like I started following your content and the stuff that you did online. But I think there's always a story behind the person. Who is Brandon? Where are you from? What is the story behind that we all don't know?
Okay, I'm like, do I know who Brandon is? That's the question. Now, I'll give you some background. So I was born in Pretoria, which a lot of people don't know, but I can't. Yeah, exactly. But I can't claim it because I think my parents moved us when I was like 1 year old.
Okay.
So, but I always say like I give credit there. You know, Pretoria was where I was conceived and born, and then we moved to Cape Town, and like I said, like 1 year and something, and that's where I spent the rest of like my childhood and upbringing. So we moved to, I think it's like, we moved to Durbanville side in Cape Town, northern suburbs, and I went to school there, primary school, pre-primary school, primary school, and then high school as well. And then from there I went to UCT. Loved my life. Where the trauma started. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I decided to go to UCT just to be closer to town. Because in Brandon's past life, he was also a model.
We're gonna get to that.
We'll get to that, but yeah, so just like grew up in northern suburbs and then decided to move to southern suburbs for schooling or for university, and that's where the whole CA journey started. And
how was your environment growing up? Like, if the earliest memory you can remember, what was going on? Who was there? How were you feeling? Did you have a great childhood?
Okay. I actually, like, my earliest memories were actually in Pretoria, but I think it was more when we were going back to visit my grandparents. So I just like vividly remember being very young. We had like Spider-Man suits 1 year. I don't even know what it was for. It was just like I was in a Spider-Man shirt, and you know, like the frame of a door, you would like climb up it. I don't know if you ever did it. Like you literally like, and it felt so high being like a little child. So that's the earliest memory I have, and it was like we were visiting my grandparents, must be in their house in Pretoria, and we were in Spider-Man suits climbing up, and that kind of like sums up how my childhood was. I grew up in a house with 3 other children. So I have an older brother, it's me, my sister, and then my younger brother. So it was just chaos. It was non-stop chaos. Exactly. It was just like, it was just chaotic all the time, never resting. I take my hat off to my parents. I think the one blessing to my mom, and she always makes this joke, is like we're quite close in age, and she's like, thank goodness you all grew up together, because she's like, I could not raise one of you and then have to redo this in like a couple of years time. So I'm like, she just like ripped the bandage off and was like, I'm gonna raise all 4 of you same time, let it be chaotic. But yeah, our childhood was fun. Like I think growing up, my parents, both my parents were working like throughout, which kept them busy, and we were fortunate enough that my grandfather could live with us. So he was with us as early as I can remember, doing school runs, looking after us during the day if my parents were working. And he was also just so incredible. So we really, we got into a lot of trouble.
As you should.
We got into so much trouble growing up, but it was just fun. Like obviously ups and downs as it goes in every family, but I had quite a fun childhood.
What kind of values were in your household? Like when you think back and you're like, there's this thing that I hold dear, like from your childhood, what is it?
The values that I hold dear, punctuality, let me tell you.
To be fair, that's true. That's true.
That's like the first thing that pops to mind. But no, I think for us, my one side of the family is like grew up Christian, so we were like raised in a like Christian environment, and those values like take the religion out of it, but like the values that came out of that was like very good, and I think it stuck with all the children growing up. It's just like being kind to everyone, being respectful to everyone, just like showing love to everyone. Like you never know where people are from, like what they're going through. Like you don't need to add to them, and I think that's something that like really sticks to me. I remember in high school, people are mean. People are mean in high school, and listen, I'm not going to say that I have never said a mean thing. Like I definitely have had my days, you know, but I just remember people were so rude to a lot of people, and I was just like, what is the point of this? And that's really, it's something that like my parents, my grandparents were always just like, you don't know what people are going through, so just like be a nice person. So I think that's the ones.
And so like when you were growing up with your siblings, it sounds like you come from like a very happy home, and like these values are instilled in you when you were young. What made you think, I need to take education seriously, I need to go to school, I need to like pass and like make it to UCT? Because I find that a lot of people don't have that drive. People just go to school because, well,
you have to. This is such a funny thing that I haven't like spent a lot of thought on, because in my household, like my parents they didn't go to university, so it wasn't something that was like, you are now going to go to university. That's the thing, and it was never told to any of the children growing up. I was about grade, I think 2 and 3, when you had to do phonics. I don't know if you...
I remember phonics.
Brandon struggled with phonics. I don't know if it's because I just didn't like do the homework or like whatever, and there was like a period, I think it was grade 3, where like the teachers reached out to my parents and they were like, Brandon is not doing well at phonics. And my mom like literally went into like a cadenza, as she does, and sent me to this like English like boot camp. Like it's, I don't know what it's called, it's like extra classes for English, but like as a child, that literally switched something in me. I don't know if it just like made me take schooling more seriously, or it was just like the kick I needed to get started. But I remember that so grade 3, that I was like 10 years old. That was the first switch where I was like, I do have the ability to do well academically. And then I think like growing up, wanting to prove myself for all the things that, you know, like later on I discovered the reasons for that. I think academics was something that I saw I was getting validation for. And I was like, it's coming easy to me, it's coming naturally to me. So I was like, let me ride this wave. And then as I grew up, I was like, okay, education unlocks so much, like the opportunities, which like I'm not saying I had a bad childhood because my parents weren't in university, but like if you're not brought up in an environment where like education is like a very big thing, you don't really know what it does for you. Like what you kind of get, like you hear it, like, and listen, my parents always like told us like, if you get these degrees and this, like it really opens up doors, but like you don't really take it seriously. And it was like, I think from grade 4 onwards, that's like when I remember like the grades were like a very important thing to me to like maintain. So
I think for a lot of us, when you're still young, the validation that you get is coming from your schoolwork, because that's the only thing that you're really like doing, unless you're into like athletics and the rugby team and stuff. But like, academics is a big part of who you are when you grow up, and the validation that you get from that. So as you go into schooling, how, I guess being in Cape Town, was UCT the obvious choice, or was it like influenced in any way?
So actually UCT is like, so from the northern suburbs, UCT is not the obvious choice. The obvious choice from like your northern suburbs, like kids growing up, is Stellenbosch. Like that's like where most people go. Like it's a very like northern suburbs, very Afrikaans dominant. I grew up in Afrikaans or half Afrikaans household, so not that my parents were influencing me, but it was like if you were in these primary schools, these high schools, which is in the northern suburbs, you are likely to go to Stellenbosch. So from high school, a lot of my friends went to Stellenbosch, and that was like the choice. So I mentioned earlier that like I was modeling from, I think I signed in grade 10 or end of grade 10, and that made town like an everyday thing. I had to go to town for castings, I had to go see an agency, like my agency in town. And that was like one of the factors that pushed me to be like, if I'm going to continue doing modeling during university, I need to be somewhere closer. Like I can't be driving from Stellenbosch into Cape Town CBD to do these things. And UCT incredibly has the Jammy shuttle that like you could catch from upper campus, take you straight into CBD for free. It's part of like the schooling or the university. Incredible. That was like a game changer. So that influenced me. I also played a lot of tennis when I was growing up, or from like about grade 8. That then pushed me to be in Stellenbosch, I think 4 times a week throughout high school. So I was kind of over Stellenbosch by the time that the choices came. I applied to both just in case, you never know what you're going to get in. And so I ended up, with UCT, and then UCT also did the business science double major, so accounting and finance. And I had a accounting tutor / friend when I was in high school, and he did Stellenbosch accounting, straight accounting, which is great. And then he was like, if I could go back, he would have chosen business science because he never knew about it. And then I was like, oh, okay, like this, that is this option. Again, is it because I wanted to do something finance related? Absolutely not. But like someone older than me told me it's like something like more like better, like you should do it if you can.
Step up
like a step up, like listen, and like I have no regrets in doing it, but I'm like, it was really just a very, I was like, I want to be a CA. If this is going to get me there, that's fine. I'll add the extra thing. Did not know it was a 5-year degree. Did not know. I was in my second year of university, and I was with my best friend Caroline, and her now boyfriend, or like one of our best friends, his brother did the business science. And we were like, oh, like in 3 years time we're going to be done, or 2 years time we're going to be done, honors in the bag, like GDA done. And he looked at us, he's like, guys, like you have an extra year. And I said,
what?
What do you mean? And he's like, it's a 5-year degree, 4 years for your undergrad and your finance honors, and then your GDA year. And I said, sir.
Let me tell you, when I was deciding which degree to do, I also knew I wanted to do accounting, but I was also stuck between business science at UCT and normal become accounting science. And I spoke to this guy from my hood, and he said, do you know that business science is 5 years? And this is 1 year less, and you get the same thing. And I said, I'm not doing an extra year.
No, and that is so valid.
And I'm glad I didn't, because I failed a year. So my thing would have been 6 years.
Listen, and it happened. There's so many people I was studying with that, it's very normal to, like something goes wrong, like these things are not easy to get through. And you're adding on, people are racking up 7, 8 years, not like, instead of just starting with 4, let's keep it simple. You don't need to overcomplicate it. There is, I think my only saving grace is that I was obsessed with finance. All my modules I really enjoyed, but I have friends that were like, this was the biggest waste of time. They did well, they did way better than I did, but they just didn't enjoy it. They were like, I could have done, I'm in the same, like you say, you're in the same position.
The same thing,
but listen, actually at uni, fortunately, I was like, okay, this is fine.
I think looking back, I could have done it.
Just like,
there was no rush to come out.
That's fair.
And so, like, when you're going through to UCT, you were in modeling. You were modeling at the time. I presume you were making money out of the modeling. You were traveling because of the modeling. What made you still be focused in the education element of it? Because in today's society and today's world, you see people go to school, they start creating content, they become content creators and influencers, and they make money and then just drop the education bit because what does it matter? Why did it matter for you to still complete your degree despite the income that you were making from it?
So for me, I had it throughout high school, so there was no question about finishing high school. Like my parents were like, you're gonna get this done. This is not an option. So I've always, for grade 10, 11, 12, I was balancing it. Like it became very tricky grade 11 and 12. Like I was missing a lot of school, and I think that is why my results in matric was not as good as it should have been. Thank goodness I got into what I needed to get into, but like genuinely my priorities really shifted. I kind of like I say I burnt out, but I think I was just like more interested in the creative space, like being in front of the camera, like meeting new people, like all these incredible and exciting opportunities at the age of like 16 to 18 that I got to experience. But I was very realistic that I was like, unless I'm earning a boatload of money.
Yeah.
There's like, what is my degree that I want to go into going to offer me? I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that I'm going to earn big money, but I know that I'll safely earn a base amount. Whereas with modeling, it fluctuates. Like you could be on the peak of your game earning loads and loads of money for the time you put in, not that like the time to value. It's that's really mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But you could then have months where you're just waiting at the core, like it's not season, you're in Cape Town, like, you know, winter, summer, all these things.
Yeah.
So I'll just always like, I'll do both as long as I can. If modeling or social media, like in terms of like monetary compensation only came later on, like in university.
Yeah.
But I was like, until this other avenue like surpasses something that I can't even almost fathom, there's no debate about this. Like I will do both. I will get my degree. And I even think like, even had I reached a point where I could have solely just like stopped my education and like relied on this, I do think I would have still finished. Even if it was just my undergrad stepped away from GDA kind of thing. It was never going to be like, I'll just give up this degree situation.
Because I think people underestimate I want to say safety net, but with the recent layoffs, it's just like, it's crazy. But like, you know, it gives you like a sense of something to fall back on, because I feel like with education, you will always have your accounting knowledge. You will always have your audit knowledge. You can always apply it in any sphere and time and space. But with all these other things, it feels like it has an expiry date. Like there's a time where maybe your type of content goes up,
exactly,
or whatever it is that happens. So I feel like a lot of people they really look down on the education aspect of it, especially because it's not associated with big wealth, big money. But so eventually you make it out of UCT, you graduate, and you land yourself a job in the UK. Tell us about that. How did that come about for you?
So again, this friend who told me my 4-year degree was a 5-year degree, love him. His brother moved to the UK. He's quite a few years older, I think 3 years older than us. He landed a job in the UK ahead of us. So then that's what was the first instance where we were like, oh, you can go to the UK and still become psycho qualified. Like that's incredible.
Was that the first time you were exposed to that as an option?
Yes, 100%. So I heard this, I think I was in my 2nd year, so it was slightly too early to start applying for roles, especially in the UK, because the UK you only start applying like, I want to say a year before your GDA year. You start with the process, and then we find out in our GDA year whether you got it or not. So that was the first instance. Then fast forward to the first year of COVID, which was my 3rd year, we were locked down. I had heard that the UK option was no longer a thing. You couldn't come over unless you had a passport. Someone told me this. I kind of listened to it and I was like, oh, guess that's done.
That's it for me,
Picked up the phone, started emailing firms back home. I ended up signing a contract in Cape Town with Deloitte.
Okay.
And then that was the plan. That was going to be, I'll do my articles, I'll get through it and then move over to the UK or wherever at a later stage. Fast forward another year, 4th year, recruiters started reaching out to us, like all of us at university, and they're like, this is still an option. And I was like, whoa, someone said this is an option. So immediately I was like, let's get back on this. This is happening. Because for me, I was like, I've always seen myself outside of South Africa for a couple of years. I don't think it's permanent, like, because I'm in love with South Africa, but I was like, in my youth and my like 20s, I want to be outside the country and just travel. Travel is my biggest like driving factor. And I also wanted to, I'm not saying that it's not a rat race, it really is. Like we've been exposed to it, always is, no matter where you are in corporate. But I had a very rough PGA year, like very, very rough mentally. And it made me reflect on like, what am I doing? I'm not doubting becoming a CA, that's fine. But I'm like, I don't need to put myself through the rigor of what it can be. And unfortunately, South Africa, and it comes with its perks, and I'm the biggest advocate for training in South Africa because of the level of knowledge you're exposed to throughout your articles. You're working with psycho-qualified CAs who I do really regard them very highly. So I'm like, having been in that environment, I think it would be great, and you can attest to this. But I was like, I need some form of a break.
Yeah.
I work my butt off here. Let me not fool anyone. I really do work hard.
Yeah,
but
it's
there
still
was
difficult as well.
there was a period when I moved over, like the first couple of months when you're kind of getting your induction done and like welcome to the firm, and then also they're not sure like your level of knowledge because you know everyone's kind of on the same playing field. There was like a level of just like you can take a breath for a couple of months. That caught up with me, and we are working and paying our dues, but I was just like, I want to travel. I can't travel as much on the article salary in South Africa. Unfortunately, that is the reality.
You can't even leave much.
You got
like I don't
tough.
think salaries have changed much since I was there. Because I remember my first salary, and right now I can't comprehend how I lived.
Yeah, but you made it work, which is like hats off to you.
Yeah,
like,
so I can only imagine if you have dreams of travel, that is a very difficult thing to do on a trainee salary in South Africa. Yeah. So cool, you land, you have your first few weeks of training, and you start like integrating into society. What are the apparent differences that to you are like, oh my god, what is happening here? Like, we always have that reality check.
Yeah, I think for me, so I feel like I had quite a sheltered experience moving. Okay. Because when I tell you, most of my class from UCT moved over, either at any of the firms, KPMG, Deloitte, BDO, we all just dispersed throughout. Yeah. I moved over with probably close to 20 of like good friends, not just like people I know and like see that then there's those people as well. Yeah. So I always acknowledge the fact that I didn't move over here not knowing anyone and like having to, you know, brave the storm of meeting people and like integrating into a whole new country. Yeah. So I moved in with a house with 3 other girls that I was at school with or at UCT with, absolutely loved. And we kind of just like made life here like we did in South Africa. Obviously it comes with its changes and stuff. The changes for me, I would say, is just like the friendliness of people. Yeah. And it's not that in the UK people are unfriendly. It's just the day-to-day interactions that I think in South Africa you have to do. Whether you want to or not, you're asking someone, how are you doing?
You have to
I'm good, thank you, how are you?
Other people, that's the thing. Like here, everybody's on their airports.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if you go like buying a coffee and you know the barista or the person taking your order, you ask them how you do, even if you don't care. Like I think there's 2 sides to it. It's like, why are you asking if you don't actually care? But like growing up in South Africa, I think like someone who was taking my order would be like, are you on drugs? To just say your order to me, like let's quickly get some respect going. Like ask me how I'm doing, and then you move on. So that was, I think, the biggest. I still catch myself today. I'm in a coffee shop or wherever, and I'm like, hi, how are you? And they just say hi. And there's this blank stare, and I'm like,
let's just get to it.
And I feel so awkward. So that I would say is the biggest thing. And then obviously the cold is, that's something that we have to get used to.
The darkness.
The darkness and all that. But overall, in terms of like integrating, I think I had quite a soft landing just because of how many people, like I went to work with so many people I know. So many people that were close friends of mine at UCT who decided to do the same as me, come over. Yeah. So work wasn't that scary because everywhere I looked, I was around people that I've spent the last 5 years studying with. So yeah, that would be.
And how does the content come about? You create content. I think I first saw you on TikTok and you were talking around your articles journey, you were talking about APC, board exams, things like that. How did the content creation come about, and what's the driving factor behind it? You know, you could have just come here and just not
done anything kind of thing. So my social media journey kind of starts in high school, so I'll take it way back, even before TikTok blew up in the world. High school, I was on Instagram. Because of modeling, it kind of helped me build a following on Instagram. And when I say following, it was like 10,000 followers. Like it was, but back then, like it was, you know, like I'm not going to downplay, but it was a big thing in our circles. Like it was like great. So that was the first exposure to like, okay, this could like be something. That helped me book some modeling jobs, which I didn't know at first, but then as I got when I started working with brands more often on campaigns, like I think the booking director, I don't know what you call them, the people who like look for the people to book onto the thing. They were like, yeah, like your social media, like the stuff you curate, like that really helps us see your personality, and then we can like kind of go off that to book you directly without seeing you in person, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So held on to that. Then fast forward, like Instagram, I don't want to say I got uninspired, but I'm a very like lazy content creator. Like, and I'm gonna be the first one to. I appreciate that. My boyfriend will honestly like he wants to strangle me because he's like, you have this platform, like please do a bit more. So I'm skipping ahead here. So getting to university, my Instagram was still like picking up following, but I kind of was staying stagnant for, I want to say 3-4 years. I was just sitting, I think I was on 13,000 followers. And that was it. It was just, I was posting photos, but I wasn't thinking about what I was posting. I wasn't trying to create like a brand for myself, anything. Come TikTok, lockdown.
Yeah.
You saw people become famous overnight.
Yeah.
Proper, and I'm not talking, like there are South African content creators, but globally, that's when everyone who we now know as the influencers are, you know, that's where everyone blew up. I was in a relationship where TikTok was a bit cringe for this person, and it really, I was in like deep in my content creating era in that moment, so I kind of like fed off that. I was like, yeah, like it's cringe, I can't post, I'm gonna leave it, like, you know, just watch. And I was scrolling for hours and hours. Fast forward a year from that, I was seeing friends of mine, like good friends of mine, going viral overnight, like going from 100 followers or 1,000 followers to like 20, 30, 40,000 followers from one video. And I was like, this is crazy. This is like the first time it like dawned on me, like the power of the TikTok algorithm. And I was like, I am missing out. People are creating, like getting brand deals or making money or like seeing the world from this. Why am I sitting on the sideline?
Yeah.
Got out of the relationship. That it wasn't bad or anything. I'm not trying to make it out to be this bad thing, but I kind of got out of that. I could, you know, think for myself on the matter of TikTok, and I was like, I want to start creating. It's terrifying, because Instagram is one thing before the reels and everything. It was a static post. You make sure you look good, and that's all that people can see.
Yeah.
TikTok, for the most part, you're creating, and people can start perceiving you more as like who you are as a person.
And they have more opinions of you as well.
And they have more opinions of you, so it was very scary. And like the first videos, you have no idea what type of content you want to create, like what you want to do. So I was just posting these random things. Couple months go by, I post the most random thing, not at all the content I created like later on that people started knowing me for. And it went absolutely viral. Like I wonder if it hit 1 million. It may be on 1 million views now, but that was when I saw the exposure of, I was on I think 2,000 followers at the time. I jumped to 15,000 followers within 24 hours. Like this, like I was like watching my phone and I was like, what is going on? Like I've never seen that. Even with my Instagram, like it was a very gradual building of followers over the years. And in a like 24 hours, one video has gained this much traction. Then fast forward, I started posting with my psycho books randomly, not because I wanted to create this type of content, but I just like posted a video. It got like really good reaction. Carried on posting random things, and then I posted again with the psycho books, and that video again got good traction. And I was like,
people like this thing.
People like this, and this is what I'm doing 24/7. I'm studying. And I was like, I can use this to my advantage. And that came so naturally because we were doing it all the time. It was the part of my life. I had like, not arguments, disagreements with people. They're like, you say you're busy all the time, but like you're posting all these TikToks and stuff. And I was like, you guys don't understand that like idea inception to creating to posting probably took me 5 minutes.
Wow.
Because it was like meme style content. It didn't need a lot of editing. It was, I was busy studying and I'm like, thought something funny like, oh, I hate, you know, whatever. Oh, that's kind of funny. Let me like put it up, record, throw my phone away, had posted it, carry on studying. And these videos were just like gaining a lot of traction. And I think it's because it was so relatable to everyone in our field. And then also beyond just accounting, was anyone who's a student can relate to these things. And that's kind of where I fell into my niche of accounting. And that was from 4th year. So yeah, only 2 years, which is so sad. I wish I started earlier because I'm like, I really had a very limited time frame of creating an entire audience for this. But that is what I fell into, and it was, I loved it. It was a way for me to express the struggles I was going through in university, make light of it, kind of get everyone, involved. I started giving advice. I started giving advice on, study tips and how to flag your books, because that was a very daunting thing for me. I don't know if you
I remember the flags, especially on the Tax Act.
The Tax Act, and I got such good advice for the Tax Act. I think the first thing we did was the VAT Act. And someone gave me such beautiful advice on stacking flags from all the year. I did that, I posted about it, people were like, this is, and I was like, this is not me. This is like knowledge that has been passed on by, the people before us. And people just, I think they appreciate it. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But it was just, so that's where I created my TikTok following, came from people who are in our profession. Exactly.
And how has your experience now been doing articles in the UK? Unfortunately, I think they've now stopped the program, so people cannot come over 2026 going forward. But I think with you guys, how has your experience been doing articles here? I don't know if you can compare it to anything else,
because I don't know.
Like, how has your sort of experience been in that process?
So I would say I've had quite a sheltered articles experience, because the people who came over, it really does depend, as you know, like what sector are you falling into, at the firm, which managers are you falling in with at the firm, and
the type of clients,
the type of clients, all that stuff. So before they scrapped it, you got to rotate in the training pool in your first year. So the first year I was doing, I think I did consumer markets, I did some natural resources, I did one tech and media job, and then I fell into real estate. And that was the first job that I was on for like a very long time. I think I had like a 3-month booking compared to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, which I absolutely hated. And I fell into real estate, fell into incredible managers who I still work with today. And I think the long booking for me allowed me to kind of get comfortable, because I'm a very shy person, which people don't actually know. When I meet people, because I just yap all the time, but when I think I do care what people think. Like, I want to, I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to do anything wrong. So going into new teams all the time, it's very daunting, because I'm like, they don't know how I work. They're going to think I'm lazy or what. So I'm constantly trying to prove myself, which is just exhausting. Got into this job, loved the managers, like loved the people I was working with. The job, audit, like I do love real estate now, but it wasn't like I was working on it and being like, this is so interesting. Like, it really wasn't this revelation of like, this is the type of clients I want to work with. But the people sold it for me. So that kind of got me to choose real estate. I then ended up getting the choice that I wanted. And I've loved that. So my experience has been good, because I think I got to work on this job with quite a big array of managers. And they then pulled me onto their jobs because they liked the way I worked and like how we, gelled on the team and stuff. So from Secto last year and this year, I've had quite a good experience, whereas I acknowledge other people who aren't fortunate like that. They, no matter how good you are, no matter what, you could just fall into bad managers or bad clients, bad sectors, and they kind of get put off by auditing, which is so sad. It's so, because I think I'm quite confident I can, even if I were to leave one day, I wouldn't look back and be like, I hated my articles. And I'm quite grateful for that, because I don't know how you felt. I carry the same sentiments, because I remember at my time at KPMG, I had a great time, and it's because I fell into the hands of great managers and mentors and partners that I worked with, and I worked at like good clients where their things work. I feel like your articles experience is like, how you experience it depends on the people that you work with and the 100%. Clients that you get assigned to. If you have terrible people, you're going to have a terrible experience, unfortunately. And so I run this program. It's called the Life Design and Career Coaching Program. And basically we are trying to build careers based on who we are and what kind of life we want to live, instead of the qualifications that we have. When you think to all the stuff that you've did, so you've been in modeling, content creation, accounting, what feels more like Brandon of all of these things, and what would you carry forward to pursue? Wow, this is a tough one. because I don't think I actually have an answer to this yet. I think I love how you say, let's create a life based on who we are, not the qualification.
Yeah.
I think I've started, because it takes so long to get to our qualification, that's all you think about for 7, 8, 9, however long it takes you to get there. And I feel like you lose yourself in that. And I'm first example of that. I think I've lost myself to our qualification, but what does Brandon actually want? And there's a lot of layers to that, and I'm not going to get into all of it. But for me, the upbringing I had didn't come with a lot of like financial stability. So that is forefront. I don't want to say trauma because it wasn't that deep, but I'm going to say trauma, like that is in the back of my head that drives a lot of my decisions. And I think that drove me to be like, you will get the safety net. No matter what happens, that no matter how much money you earn from these other avenues, you will get the safety net to have, and then if you don't use it, that's fine. What that pushes me wanting to do now, it's still kind of the safety thing. I don't think I've fully broken away from being able to say, because what I would want to say is stop this. I get my qualification and I have no regrets about getting my qualification, but I want to pursue social media fully. Because at the moment and for the last couple of years, I've always balanced it, and it could never be my sole focus. And my boyfriend he's so patient with me, because I spiral about it often. I'm like, I do have this platform that could be way bigger than what it is, but I can't. He reminded me, he's like, you need to, because again, then I have people who I compare myself to that are able to put all of their time into it. And you know how difficult it is. You're literally doing the exact same of like this balancing thing, but they're able to put all their time into, and you see their platform grow and their brand grow, which is, it's not coming from a jealousy perspective, like, oh, they shouldn't have this platform, but it's like, I wish I could put everything into it, take a year off and just put it in. On this. But my reality is that I'm too scared to do that until I reach a certain level of financial freedom and safety. It just isn't something that I would do, which is sad, because what I would want to do is something more creative. I wish I could have taken 20 to 26 or 27 and modeled, like whether that I wasn't doing it for money, like yes, obviously that's a great thing, but for me it was the travel opportunity, meeting people from all over the world, and being part of something that's so creative. But so what I would want to do is that's my the answer. What I'm actually going to do is not that, unfortunately. I'll probably stay. I've fallen in love with real estate. Luckily, I do find it very interesting, especially in the UK. I think it's like an incredible market to be in.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know.
As well.
So I think I would want to stay in that space. Whether that's in auditing, outside of auditing, I don't really know yet. And I'll just take it as it comes and see like what opportunities are out of that. But like I said, because I don't hate audit and I haven't hated my experience, I'm not rushing. I'm not going to leave a company. I'm not going to leave auditing for a job that I'm not really sold on. So that would
a lot of people, and I think myself as well, share the same sentiment in that, like, just because I'm building a life based on who I am and what I want doesn't mean I have to let go of the financial stability. I think would struggle a lot if you can't pay the rent, if you can't buy food, if you can't travel to the places that you want to travel to, just because you chose this thing that resembles you the most. I just find that there's a balance to it, and I think that's why I still do social media while I'm doing my work, because I still need to eat, but at the same time there's a part of me that needs to live through the creativity and through all of this that I do. And so I just wanted to caution that it's not the fact that you choose to do something that's aligned with who you are doesn't mean you let go of the thing that's sustaining you right now. Because I feel like there's a lot of backlash to 9 to 5. It's like, oh, I don't want to build someone else's dream. But that thing, my job right now is paying for all of this. Do you know what I mean? So you've traveled quite a bit. Where have you been? What's your most favorite destination that you've been to so far?
My favorite destination? Oh my word. Let me think. I was traveling with modeling. So those were different experiences. Like from matric and then say up until COVID, I was doing like 3 months in Asia, different countries for modeling. So I've done Taipei, I did South Korea, I did Shanghai, then COVID hit. Then my other travels have come now from being in the UK and like being able to afford my own travels, you know, and doing these trips and stuff. So I want to say off the bat, South Korea is probably up in my top 3. Yeah.
I heard people speak highly of South Korea.
It was incredible. Like it was freezing cold, colder than London, like minus 15. Wow. Like I was there in like the peak of winter, but the people are exceptional. The country is incredible. The whole, like the culture, the food, the city, it is just like mind blowing. So I'm really trying to push for me and Mark to go in the future, like at some point. So I think South Korea is probably, I was in Seoul and then did like a bit of traveling throughout, is probably my number 1. And then I love a beach holiday.
Oh yeah.
I have realized that I'm a vacationer. I don't want to, I want to see the culture and the tourist attractions, but give me some blue water and I will happily sit there for the whole day. So Mark and I did a trip in July to Mallorca for the first time, and it's the first time that we did like just the 2 of us alone, because we have so limited like time away or time to go on holidays. We usually try get a group together, like make it a big thing. And this was the first time we just went away the week of us, and we had the best time because we sat on a beach every single day, did absolutely nothing. We woke up, drove to the beach, ate at the beach, swam, went home, and repeated. And that was, so Mallorca is like a special place in my heart, not necessarily because it was anything beyond what I've, have experienced in other places, but just the holiday itself was really just filled me up incredibly. And then Turkey last year, incredible. Yeah. So I want to say those are my 3. This Mallorca is more just like the holiday, not necessarily the location. Still an incredible location. But yeah, South Korea, Seoul was incredible.
What has traveling taught you about home? Or made you appreciate about home?
That there's nothing like it.
Oh yeah.
That there's nothing like it. There's always, your mind is blown when you go traveling. There's like these incredible things that you can't ignore. But in every place that I've been, there's always something that I'm like, I wish it had this, or I wish it. And I think that's personal to everyone. No matter where you're from, you're always going to feel that way about your home country. For me, like I grew up in Cape Town, and I need to watch my mouth out because I'm like the biggest Cape Town advocate. So I need to just acknowledge that, but I don't want to be that person, but I actually am that person that like Cape Town is like this, like just everything you want is at your disposal. You can go hiking, you can go swimming, you can go to a wine farm, you can go and see, like you can just see whatever you want to see, and then the people also just really make it. But that's a South African as a whole thing. Like the people are just incredible.
Good.
They are that good. So when I am traveling, I'm always like, if South Africa were here and the people were here to make it what I know home to be, it would just be a little bit better. But I'm not saying that these countries need us to be there at all. But yeah, I think that's something that like always sticks with me. I'm like, South Africa. My home is Cape Town. Let me just preface. It's just unmatched.
What have you learned about yourself through your travels and through living here?
Through my travels, I would say, that's a tricky one. What have I learned about myself? From my traveling, when I was traveling for modeling, I was traveling not knowing anyone. I was plopped into a different country. The language barrier was immense. Like obviously I was meeting other models who were from all over the world that I could converse with. But I would spend a lot of time alone. And in those travels, I became very comfortable being alone. So that's what taught me and what I learned about myself. I was like, I actually don't need to be around people all the time. And when I've come to realize that I'm actually a lot more introverted than I thought about myself. I always thought I was like a very extroverted person, which I am, and I'm able to switch that on. But where I recharge is alone. And that's what that taught me. Nowadays, or what the UK taught me, is that, what has it taught me? That friendships are effort. Friendships are effort. To tube somewhere for a meet and greet or a little coffee.
It takes so so much effort.
It takes a lot of effort, and you have to put in the time. Like if you want to see a friendship, blossom into whatever you want it to be, it is a lot of effort. You don't have your comfort of your car. It's a quick little 30 minutes. It's like an hour to get somewhere, or 45 minutes, and you're around people, and like that already just overstimulates me. So the UK taught me that connections come with effort, and it's a lot of effort. I think back home it was easier to build connections because, like, number one, you're at university, so same environment, you're always seeing each other. There was very little resistance for friendship to start. Whereas now it's everyone is busy, and that's another thing that taught me, like, people can have their lives. Like, it doesn't. That's a great point that you bring up. Like, people are busy, and that's okay. You don't need to see everyone every single day, and people show up in the capacity that they have to show up. Have your boundaries. There is toxic parts where, like, people are not coming to the table, and that's, you need to reflect on that. But the UK taught me that connections take time and a lot of effort. But it pays off, I think.
There's probably somebody sitting at home listening to this conversation and going, oh my God, things have worked so much for Brandon. Like, things just fell into place. He went to UCT, got this opportunity, he knew the right people, moved with the right people, like, he's just flourishing. What is that part of your life that you're like, I know you guys see this, but you don't know this is the behind the scenes?
I can definitely open up about that. I think first and foremost, I always acknowledge before I trauma dump, and I say trauma probably too lightly, but before I offload what I struggled with growing up and stuff, is that I'm still very privileged. And I start the conversation with that is because what I struggled with, I have very good friends that struggled even worse than what I did. And that always makes me reflect, and I almost feel bad talking about what I was struggling with, like, throughout my upbringing and stuff, because I'm like, there are people that are struggling so much more. That aside, like I mentioned earlier, I came from a background that wasn't very financially stable, and I adore my parents, like, really, because it wasn't like they were, I want to say, quote unquote, lazy parents. Like, my parents grafted, and things just unfortunately didn't fall the way it needed to. We almost lost my dad when I was in grade 3. So my dad had his own company. I can't really remember, something in oil, something like cooking oil, something I can't really fully remember. I was very young. He got very, very ill in, I was grade 3. He was bedbound, I want to say, for like almost a full year. We thought we were going to lose him. Like, that was like the consensus, he was going to pass away. He somehow came out of that. And we still have him today, which is another thing, because even when he was healthy, they were like, it's like a ticking clock, like, he doesn't have much time. So that was like a very big strain that my family went through. And with that, my dad's income from his company was like a very big part. And my mom worked throughout this. She wasn't staying at home or anything, but her income wasn't the one that was like providing for the entire family. Together, it was creating, the stability and everything. He obviously had to close that. The medical bills literally racked up a debt that I don't even think we as children know the full extent of. And that kind of hung over us for the rest of our lives, like for the rest of our childhood and stuff, for them trying to like get that paid off, putting us through schooling and all this stuff. So I think I pushed a lot of stuff down growing up in this regard. Like, if you saw me at school and how you saw me at home, it was a very like contrast on who you were seeing. I'm not saying I was like a bad at home child, but at home I wasn't this like bubbly person, like life's great, like all these things. I really created a persona for school, and my mindset was just like, I have the ability to get out of this financial shackles, if you will. I have the ability, so you will. There was like, I grew up and I was just like, I will not go through this for the rest of my life. And so I want to say like the financial struggle for me was like the biggest thing. And then also coming to realize my sexuality at quite a, I would say a young age. Like I think it was always there, but that was a very big struggle from grade 0 to when I finally came out to my family, which was grade 10.
Yeah.
That was something that was looming over me as well, and I didn't realize how big of an impact that was having on me for just years and years and years. I was like, that's going to be pushed aside. That will not be addressed. We carry on. We move forth. And so that was really difficult. I was bullied extensively throughout primary school, throughout high school, with people speculation, and it's such a difficult thing to talk about, because when you speak to the people I was at school with and stuff, they're like, you were first team hockey, tennis, whatever, you were on the academic role, you were friends with so many people, like you were in the, when it was popularity to me is such a freaking annoying word, but in the traditional sense of popularity, like you had it, you had the friends, you had all these things, you were like likable, and people like enjoyed being around you and all these things. But then on the other hand, I was being like slurred every single day by people who were still even in, not necessarily my friend circles, but like the people that were still like around us, like close enough. And that was like really, really difficult. I think once I finally did come out to my family, and once I accepted myself, those things very much like had way less impact on me. It was I would hear it and I'd be like, well, okay, we move on. So yeah, like that was the thing. And then the UCT point, I was on this throughout UCT, and that's something I don't speak about. And it's not because I'm ashamed, it's just like it never comes up. But UCT, and it was, when I said earlier, I was fortunate enough that NSFAS got me through my 5-year degree, because if I were to go to my parents and say, oh, this 4-year degree is actually another year, I think they would have a heart attack. And so yes, I went to UCT, and like I did well at UCT. Again, people like, oh, you like got through CA not easily, but like I haven't had a hurdle, I didn't have to rewrite, I've never written a sup, all these things, which I'll take that, but there wasn't an option. Yes, a sub could have been fine, like, whatever, like that, I could have recovered from that, but there wasn't an option to redo a year unless I was going to have to I would have had to take out a loan and pay for it. So this like financial thing has always just been like things, that was like the biggest thing that I'd have to like get through. And then modeling helped so much, because I was able to get my own income and take like a burden off my parents of like, you don't have to say no, because I can do this for myself now. And my parents really did absolutely everything for us, including me. But the modeling just gave me this like slight freedom of, if I wanted a new pair of shoes, or and my parents would have done it. If I asked, they would have made a plan, they would have like, sold the arm and gotten on with it. But it just like was a bit relieving to be like, I don't need to put you in a position to figure it out. Like just take a bit of a break. And I'm not the easiest child, and I'll acknowledge that. And if my mom ever sees this, she will be the first to say that. So that would be the struggles that I don't open up about.
I definitely share those sentiments, because I think sometimes people look at us, especially people in the public eye like you and me, and they go, oh my God, things have fallen into place for those people. Like it's just work. But it's because people don't know the story behind it. And I really relate to what you're saying about the finances, because I remember in my second year, my bursary got terminated because
I'm so sorry.
I passed first year, but I didn't pass well enough.
Well,
And they were like, "Oh no, sorry. You're not funding your second year." And I had no option than to pass second year, because then otherwise I'll just drop out. But it's those things that people don't think about when they see you today, and they see where you are, the things that you have, or the things that you can afford as you post it online, or when they see your highlight reel. But in closing, because our director has signaled to me that we are running out of time, in closing, I just want you to share some of the things that you've learned throughout your journey, that somebody who's coming from a different background, has different set of circumstances, can still take away and can still relate to their own journey and say, oh my God, okay, I've seen Brandon do this. Him and I maybe come from two different backgrounds, whatever it may be, but these are the key lessons that I'm going to take away from this conversation.
I think the biggest thing that I would tell people is that you are the pioneer of your future.
Yeah.
No one else is going to do it for you. No matter what the circumstances are that you say, like, you still need to put in the work. You still need to show up for yourself. Like, don't show up for other people. I think that's the biggest thing I learned growing up. I started showing up for myself, and that became a much bigger motivator, because I was like, I need to live with myself for however long. I need to create a life that I'm going to live in for years to come. So I think that's the biggest thing, is when you're feeling unmotivated, which we all do, and it's really difficult to get through certain situations you're in, is just remind yourself that you're doing it for yourself and no one else. And that's the biggest thing. And then also just to be kind to everyone. That's something that it's just stuck with me from such a young age. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I've definitely had my bad days, but I'm just like, just be kind to people, because not even to benefit from other people, but it will come around. The universe just has a way of coming around to you, whether it's, you know, something physical and tangible that you can benefit from, or just a positive experience back at a later stage. We don't realize how big of a help that is. So those are like the two things that I would say is the biggest thing.
Amazing. Brendan, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was so lovely. Oh.
Thank you so much for coming through, guys. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for tuning in. If you did like it, let me know down in the comments what is your takeaway from this conversation. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye.